Today I'm working together with cooking tips to bring you my brand new and much anticipated Instant Pot Cheesecake recipe. You guys, this is such a simple recipe to make. You're gonna be shocked, especially if you've been making cheesecake in your oven with the water bath situation. It is so quick and easy to do. Let's get started. So the first thing that we want to do is make our graham cracker crust. For the crust, I'm going to use about 5 sheets of graham crackers, so about 5 of these or about 1 cup of graham cracker crumbs. I like to make the crust in the food processor. It makes it super quick. I have a really inexpensive Black & Decker that does a really great job. You want to get everything really nice and fine, and we're also going to heat up and melt about 1/3 of a cup of grass-fed butter. There we go. Now for my butter, I do about 15 seconds, kind of stir it around, and I'll do 15 more seconds. That seems to work really well. And then once you've got all of your graham crackers nice and ground, we're going to slowly add it while the machine is pulsing so it gets nice and combined. There we go. Now the next step, and this is one of the most important steps, is lining your springform pan with parchment paper. Now a lot of people will use just a regular pan that fits inside their Instant Pot, but a springform pan is what you really need for cheesecake. This is essential. So make sure you have yourself a springform pan that will fit inside of the Instant Pot. The Cooking Tips Instant Pot Accessories Kit is where I got this one, and this, you guys, fits perfectly inside of my 6-quart Instant Pot. I'll have the link to my specific Instant Pot as well as their 13-piece accessories kit so you guys can check it out. If you cook in the Instant Pot, you are going to eventually need an accessories kit. There's just so much that can be done, and it really helps to make it even more versatile. Not only the springform pan with the bottom that detaches, making it super simple to do cheesecake. This is great if you're doing eggs. You can also use this to lift the cheesecake up when you're doing the water bath. They also have a beautiful steamer basket, and you guys, this is pretty much all I use now when I'm doing veggies. You can put so much broccoli, cauliflower, anything you want to steam. Plus, it fits perfectly inside, and when you want to pull your veggies out, it's got the nice handle. It's a really thick stainless steel, easy to clean. It comes with these little grippers, which makes it super handy to pull the cheesecake pan or anything else out of the Instant Pot, and you don't have to worry about these getting wet like I normally had to worry about with my typical baking mitts, because if they get wet, then the heat transfers. Silicone's not like that. Like I said, it's got 13 pieces, and these are all things that you will use with your Instant Pot. I also really like their little kitchen tongs and the sous vide egg bite molds. Those are perfect if you're making those egg bites. They also have a little silicone mat you can use if you're doing a lot of eggs, and a really neat little gripper that you can lift things up easily out of the pot. And did I mention the little cooking magnets? They've got all of the Instant Pot cook times on these little magnets, so you can keep it on your fridge or on your Instant Pot. I think that's really cute. So I would highly recommend that set. For this recipe specifically, what I use is the trivet. So I put that in the very bottom, and we're gonna add 2 cups of water. So I put that straight into the pot, and we are going to line our springform pan with some parchment paper. So I know a lot of people have issue with trying to get the springform pan to work and like getting it seated properly. They're super easy to, at least this one in particular. If you're not using the parchment paper, you can just set down the bottom and then put over the springform piece. You cinch the little belt, and it is lined up perfectly flat. So this one is really easy to use. If you're doing parchment paper, all I do is tear out, the appropriate size paper. Nothing too fancy with that. And then I just set it over the bottom part. I'll put the little belt over top, and then I clasp this down. It's super quick and easy that way, and this pan makes it perfect. And I like that this makes just the right amount of cheesecake. You're not gonna like eat cheesecake for a week and gain 5 pounds. You're gonna have just enough for your family or yourself for a few days. So I'm just trimming the excess of our parchment paper around. I don't get too fancy or particular with it, but we're gonna take our graham cracker crumbs, and we're gonna dump that straight into the pan. I don't even worry about greasing or anything like that. I keep it real simple around here. So I'm just going to go ahead and scoop this into our pan. Make sure you've got clean hands, and then we're gonna press it down into our pan. Once you've got all of that done, go ahead and wash your hands, and then we're gonna grab our mixer. So you could use a hand mixer or a stand mixer, whichever you prefer, but we don't wanna mix it by hand because you want it to be really smooth. So that's key for making cheesecake. So I'm gonna go ahead and set our crust aside and grab our ingredients. Our ingredients here are very, very simple. Mainly we're gonna be using cream cheese. So we're gonna use about 2.5 of the little boxes, which equates to about 20 ounces of cream cheese. We're gonna mix this together on a medium speed for a few minutes, basically until it's nice and creamy, with 2/3 cup of granulated sugar. And we are gonna stop a couple times through the process to scrape down the bowl and make sure that everything is getting incorporated. There we go. So we're just gonna go ahead and lift up our beater here. It's looking nice and smooth already. Scrape down these sides. The key with our cheesecake is we want it to be creamy and delicious. We don't want any like lumps of the cream cheese in there. So this first initial step of overly smoothing it is important. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and add in 1/2 cup of sour cream, and we'll mix that till well combined. We're also gonna be separating 3 egg yolks. We're only gonna be using the yolks for this recipe, but I'll go ahead and separate those while this is mixing. It looks so good already. Now we're gonna go ahead and add in our 3 egg yolks to the mix here. And also we're gonna add in about 1.5 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 3 tablespoons of flour. The flour is what really, really helps this to bind together, and I think what helps it to stand up so high. Like, this cheesecake does not sink once it is set, and it's beautiful. And I think it's those 3 tablespoons of flour that really, really make it work. And we're just gonna mix on a medium speed for about a minute, scrape it, and we'll mix again. One thing I find that really helps when you're making cheesecake is to let the ingredients get to room temperature before you're going to be mixing. So a couple hours before you're going to be making your cheesecake, go ahead and set out your cream cheese, your sour cream, and they just blend so much nicer together, and the cream cheese is a lot easier to work with. It's just going to mix up and get smooth that much faster. Oh, that looks good. And it smells good. You can really smell the cream cheese and the vanilla. Really, all we have left to do is dump this in the pan and we're ready to cook. If you wanted to make this more of a, let's say, a lime cheesecake flavor or a lemon, you could add a little bit of lemon or lime juice. That would be so good. My mom's made a lime version of this and it turned out so, so good. And you guys, look how easy that was. And that's it. You've got it put together. Now all we're gonna do is set this in our Instant Pot. Like I mentioned before, we've got our trivet, and we've also got 2 cups of water in the pot. We're gonna put on our lid, and we're gonna set the valve in the back to sealing. And we're gonna pressure cook this thing for 35 minutes, and we're gonna let it do a full natural release. So we won't be opening the pot until the timer has gone off and it's been sitting long enough for the pressure to release and that safety pin to drop down. So once we notice the pin is down, then we can go ahead, release steam if there's any left, open the pot, and we will have the most beautiful cheesecake. The only thing that I want to grab to have on hand for when it's done is a little paper towel. You notice I didn't cover the cheesecake at all. I don't find it necessary, and I don't like having to use foil with the process. So once it comes out, I just use a little bit of paper towel to dab around the edges, anywhere that steam could have condensated, dropped down. So I'm just gonna leave that here, be ready to go. And I'm gonna get our kitchen cleaned up. See you guys back here in a little bit. All right, so our pin has dropped and we're gonna go ahead and release the steam, nothing left in there. We can open it on up. And the condensation that comes off in the pot, you don't wanna dump that all over your cheesecake. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and take my paper towel and I'm just going to kind of rest it on the sides, and you'll see it starts to absorb some of that water, and it really doesn't disrupt the actual cheesecake, but it makes sure that any of that that's collected gets all absorbed up. I'm just gonna go ahead with our little mitts and I'm gonna lift the cheesecake out and set it to the side. There we go. I like to let it sit about 45 minutes to an hour on the counter, and then I'll go ahead and I'll pop off the sides of the springform pan. There's no special trick to doing that, I just remove the sides slowly, and then I cover it, put it in the fridge overnight in a container, and then in the morning we've got our cheesecake that's all nice and hardened up and has tall sides, so I just pull off the bottom of the springform pan and I can roll out that parchment paper from underneath, put it on whatever you'd like to serve, and it's just beautiful. I love to top mine with a little bit of dulce de leche that I make in the Instant Pot, or some caramel sauce if you've got that on hand, or even a lemon or lime curd would be delicious. Well, I hope you guys liked coming along with me and seeing how I make my Instant Pot cheesecake now that I've got my recipe mastered. If you'd like some easy dinner recipes, then make sure you check out my ebook. I've got 10 easy Instant Pot dinners, and I'll have that link down below, or my most recent vegan Instant Pot dinners recipes will be down there too. All right guys, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you soon.